Ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming at you with the third, or I believe maybe this. I guess this is the fourth iteration of our Zoodiac deck. So the version right before this one was a little bit less focused on going second, but as you guys can see, this deck's name is quite literally Force Second. So if you lose every die roll, it's a-okay because your opponent's pretty much always going to make you go. They're going to choose to go first, which is cool because you play tons and tons of hand traps. You play tons and tons of good going second cards. So I'm just going to go ahead and get into the card by card. Quickly, we're going to run through the zoo lineup. I feel like just about everybody has got the same zoo lineup that's playing the pure Zoodiac list right now. So that's going to be the triple Thoroughblade, just your best like starter go card. The ability to just discard a zoo and draw a card when we do that is super good for setting up combo plays, for resummoning them with Chakanai and whatnot, and then popping with Trident and making F-Zero through that whole combo. You guys, the song and dance, you guys have seen me do 100 times. There is so we run triple Thoroughblade, triple Ram, just a good combo piece. Triple Whiptail, it's just kind of your essential attacher and your essential kind of you have the utility with it from being able to banish any monster that battles this one in the end of the battle phase. So I guess I'll go on and just explain all the effects, just for anybody who's a little more unfamiliar with the deck, instead of just kind of bursting through them. So when Ram is destroyed by battle or card effect, it special summons another zoo from our graveyard. That's all you need to know about Ram. Oh, the other effect, which actually came up recently in one of the games I was playing, and I didn't mention it when I recorded it, but in the most recent game that I brought up, I actually had a Ram attached to my Trident, and it was targeted with a Fog Blade, so I was able to detach the Ram and negate the Fog Blade, which is super, super niche. So whenever your opponent activates a trap that targets this card, you actually have a niche way of stopping it. So Dinomicious, I know, is another card that's really popular in the format as of right now, so there's another card that this card is just an out to. It's pretty it's not the worst thing in the entire world. And then this card, so the best three zoos, I guess all the zoos give Xyz monsters that are Beast Warrior Xyz monsters that are special summoned with this card the effect. So, and then Thoroughblade, it's just piercing battle damage. So we don't care too much about Thoroughblade. There are some cute opportunities to kill people with piercing Thoroughblade. This card, I already kind of talked about its effect, but whenever this card is used as Xyz material and battles a monster, basically banish that monster at the end of damage calc. Yeah, after damage calc. So Eater of Millions doesn't get outed by this card, but a lot of stuff does. So hope you don't play Eater of Millions 4 times in a row when you're super insanely tilted and you're not playing well, like I did earlier today. I was playing really bad earlier, and I had kind of a bad deck that I put together that I was trying to play as well. I was playing the Dogmatica deck, not really playing it very well. I feel like I don't want to explain too much more, but just know that I was kind of having a hard time earlier, just life stuff, I guess, tilting me. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I guess the last zoo we will talk about is Bunny Blast. Bunny Blast basically is just says this card is destroyed by battle. And then the quick effect from Zoodiac Whiptail. If this card's on the field or in the hand, you can just attach it to a Zoodiac XYZ, which is super sick. It doesn't have to be Zoodiac, but it's just a Beast Warrior, and in this deck, it's always a Zoodiac. Next on the list for the zoo cards is Bunny Blast. Bunny Blast, when it's destroyed by battle or card effect, we can target a zoo card in our graveyard, add it to our hand. And then this basically has the same effect as Ram when it's attached to materials, except for spells. So say they use some sort of spell that targets your monster, boom, we can just Bunny Blast, detach material, negate it. That's never come up. The Ram thing actually has come up once for me, but the Bunny Blast has yet to come up. But Bunny Blast is a super good card. Definitely need to run it, because there's some situations where you just need to, even pop your own Bunny Blast to add another zoo back to your hand with like a Trident. It's kind of sick. So Bunny Blast is like necessary. It's also just like your 10th zoo. Obviously, if we could run like Rapier. We would run Rapier, but all the good zoo cards are banned. Actually, there's one zoo card. There's one good zoo card that's still not banned, which hence why we're playing zoo. And then Thoroughblade's okay. Thoroughblade, Whiptail, and Ram Ram are all three okay. And then the extra cards are kind of good too. So there's a couple extra cards that are good. There's a couple extra cards that are bad. But the really good zoo stuff's banned. But so we played Bunny Blast just to kind of make sure we have a consistent, 1/4 of our deck is zoos. All right. Actually, it's a little bit more because we play Tenki. And Tenki just allows us to search our zoos out basically when this card's activated. I'm sure you guys get Tenki'd all the time. But Tenki just lets you add a Beast Warrior from your deck to your hand. Boom. Pretty easy. We play Triple Desires because we're not really super sad. If anything particularly in our deck gets banished, we don't do a lot of searching, or really we don't do any searching. There's no card in our deck that adds card from our deck to our hand except for Tenki that we just mentioned, and Tenki's got 10 targets. So as long as we're not desiring away all of our zoos, we're not too sad. Every other card in our deck is fine to be banished. Drawing 2 cards is definitely worth it. That trade-off is amazing. I think this card might have gotten limited on the most recent TCG ban list because of Grand Maju. I'm not even going to lie. Not really because that deck is, I think, super, super strong, but because that deck is a regional threat and because that deck is it's a very budget-friendly option. Konami doesn't like that. So, who knows what will happen with the ban list on this game. I kind of hope they keep it a separate format, but they do need to do some things about some of the meta stuff, which is what has led us to play this insane going second deck. So I guess I guess we'll talk about the other, talk about a couple other cards. So Monster Reborn, we definitely want Monster Reborn in our deck just because it helps us make, good turn 1 boards. If we start off with Tenki, we only need 1 summon and we can make F-Zero. And then it's obviously a great extender. It's a great comeback card. We run Monster Reborn because it's actually super good in the Zoodiac deck in particular. Anyway, that should pretty much go over all of the cards that actually do something for you when you draw them. Next, we're gonna have the cards that stop your opponent or blow up their board. So we'll go over the quite hardy hand trap lineup. So we're running. Oh, this is 8 hand traps, 11 hand traps. We are running 14 hand traps, ladies and gentlemen, because we are that afraid of. That's just what Yu-Gi-Oh has degenerated to. So, we start off with the very best hand traps we can get. I'm gonna go through the. So, in my opinion, there's probably 4 good hand traps, and I'm maxing out on all of them. So Maxi, which is pretty obvious. This card probably needs to be banned. Obviously, you can't put it at 1 because then it's just a complete sack fest. But this card either needs to be banned or at 3, and I guess at 3 it's okay because you can expect Maxi. I guess if it's at 3, you can expect it, and you can run Cross Out Designator and Call by the Grave, which I'm not running in this deck because we don't really lose that hard to Maxi. Actually, this deck's actually kind of okay into Maxi. Ash, because well, yeah, there's a lot of things that we do need to Ash in the game, just to search or a special summon from the deck when it's bird up that you're going up against, or if it's Drytron, you're trying to stop their limiting factor. If you don't think they've got the ritual spell or you don't think they have the ritual monster, you just need to kind of know which one to stop. There's just a lot of great Ash targets. Ashing someone's Desires, Ashing someone's Extravagance. Ooh, it's just hits different. But getting your Desires Ashed is it's like, have you guys seen that uncanny Mr. Incredibles meme? It's ashing someone's Desires, the happy Mr. Incredibles face, and then the sad, the grayed out, put through the filter, losing a million qualities when your Desires gets ashed. But we play this card because it's a blowout in some situations, and then obviously having Disruption when we're literally choosing to go second is vital. So we have to draw hand traps. Which is why we're maxing out on the good ones. The next good one is Nibiru. If you guys don't know what Nibiru does, if your opponent summons 5 times in a turn, normal or special, you can tribute their whole board during their main phase and give them a token with the stats, which is amazing in this deck because we basically just pop cards that have no big monsters are super fun for this deck to deal with. Like, as long as it's like, as long as they're affected by card effects, pretty much. Like, there's just about no card that we can't out. Like, if they can't be destroyed, we have Zeus. If they can't be targeted, we also have Zeus. So as long as they're affected by card effects, we can get over them, whatever it is. And then Nibiru token can get popped by anything, and we pretty much are always popping that with Trident. All right. I guess that is that for Nibiru. I hope I explained that right. 3K beater's pretty good too. That we just get to obviously summon Nibiru when we do that. And then we're gonna run 3 infinite impermanents. I know that the last list only had 2, and that I only coincidentally owned 2 impermanent that time. I was honestly not 100% sold on this card when I started playing this game. When I started really like, because I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh in a while, so I didn't really go through all the imperm stuff. But it's basically like, you know, Effect Veiler is insanely power crept now that there's infinite impermanence in the game. This card is completely crazy when you can set it, and you know, if your opponent doesn't play correctly around the imperm column and they activate a spell card in the same column as a monster that they control, and you can just, you know, blank their spell card and negate a monster effect. It's insanely powerful. Not controlling a monster and activating it from your hand, it's also insanely awesome. Being able to do that not even during your opponent, like just doing it whenever. So Veiler has a restriction of during your opponent's main phase, but this card doesn't care about any of that. So yeah, Imperm is awesome. Imperm is like, it's either the 3rd or the 4th best hand trap. For a while there, I thought it might be the 4th best hand trap. I think I've talked about kind of my hand trap rankings before, but this card is definitely either the 3rd or the 4th best hand trap, and you know, thus why we're maxing out on it. All right, now for the hand trap that we're basically running that is like an extra one is the Skullmeister. So Skullmeister's got so many nice Skullmeister has so many nice applications. So against Drytron, we can obviously stop a lot of their Drytron cards themselves. We can stop Ben 10. We can stop, you know, Natasha one time. If they only have one Ben 10 or something, we can stop a lot of things. So there's some debate between DD Crow and this, but I think that this card is just better, because there's some stuff that when it activates in the graveyard, it doesn't care about when it's banished, I believe. And then, but this card's also like a 1700 beater. Sometimes comes up, you can like normal summon it. That doesn't really come up too often. You're definitely using it as a hand trap most of the time. But being able to have this card and basically, like, sometimes your opponent, if they're playing like the Eldritch deck, they have like a quick way to banish their trap. So DD Crow in that situation is not great, but if you wait for them to activate it and negate it with Skullmeister, that is awesome. So Skullmeister, I think, is like pretty good. It's not the best, so we're not maxing out on it, but it's pretty good. You definitely don't want to draw multiple Skullmeisters, because you're a lot of the time gonna struggle to you know, find more than one, more use for more than one. Which is why we're, like I said, this is why we're only running 2. All the other hand traps are so powerful that drawing multiples is a-okay. Yeah. And then, so for the remainder of the deck, so we talked about pretty much every card in the deck so far. For the remainder of the cards in the deck, we have cards that are just going second cards. So these are cards that if we're going first, we are just screwed if we have them. They don't really do anything for us. So we're hoping the meta game is to like lose every single coin toss, just to make your opponent select second, so that they think they get an edge on you by going second. But really, you wanted to go second all along, because if you win the die roll and you choose second, your opponent knows something's up. Your opponent is like, this is sus. He's about to Nibiru me. He's playing 20 hand traps, and he's right. I am. I'm playing a lot of hand traps. I'm playing 3, 6, 9, 14, 15, 16 hand traps. Is that accurate? Is that right? Can I count? 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14. Just 14 hand traps. Not that many. Jeez, not that many. And there's even some going second cards in there too. So we'll talk about the going second cards, which is the remainder of the deck. So the newest going second card, and I feel like the one that probably needs the most explanation, Gameciel, the Sea Turtle Kaiju. I don't know if you guys are getting Kaiju'd very often. But I really think that tributing your opponent's monsters is really, really good right now. You know, doing this into Herald of Perfection is super sweet. Doing this into what's King of Calamities, that's super sweet. People love to make King of Calamities. Doing it to your opponent's Zoodiac Trident, that's pretty sick. F-Zero, there's actually tons and tons. Winda, I Gamma Sealed a Winda recently. It's actually awesome to Gamma Seal a Winda. Getting this card out there, pretty much just a 2200 vanilla monster. We can just, you know, pop it, get rid of it. It's actually awesome. It's awesome. You know, you are pretty much never leaving them with a Gamma Seal on their board. Just being able to get rid of their, you know, great card and sub it out for this crappy vanilla is super sweet. For like a few games there, I was trying out Lava Golem, which I don't hate in this metagame. I really don't. I think Lava Golem is actually super strong. But the problem with Lava Golem, and I think the problem that you guys will encounter with Lava Golem, specifically in this deck, is that you need your normal summon. Like if there was like, you know, if all your zoos were like could just special summon themselves from the hand, it would be no problem. We would be able to run 3 Lava Golem, you know, no issue. But the fact that we can't normal summon for the rest of the turn after we do that, it's tough. It's tough, you know. We're not obviously hoping to burn them with the Lava Golem or anything, so perhaps the Lava Golem technology is better kept for a deck that doesn't need us normal summon so much. So not this one, but you know, obviously tributing 2 monsters instead of 1 is pretty sick too. So kind of to each his own, but I think specifically in this deck, you don't have many options. You pretty much have to go for the Lava Golem or for the Kaijus. Lava Golem is just a bit too cumbersome. Like, you can Lava Golem him, sure, but if you can't normal summon, you can't make a zoo. Your deck is useless. Like, your deck's just full of hand traps. So if you can't make a zoo, and he's got a 3000 beater, how exactly do you plan to win? Which is why I went for the Gamma Seal, because we can still normal summon in the turn we summon the Gamma Seal. And then, you know, typically they've only got one thing that's super big problem. And we play so many other cards that can help us get rid of that kind of stuff. You know, we can still imperm once we Gamma Seal, so that's not a problem. There's a lot of stuff we can deal with established boards, and Gamma Seal is just like our trump card for a card that, you know, we either can't bait out just necessity, like a Herald of Herald of Ultimateness. Sorry, Herald of Perfection kind of sucks. Don't play that list, guys. I promise you will lose so many games for no reason if you play that Herald of Perfection list. If your opponent has an Ultimateness, you know, you got to tribute it or something, and then you can go from there. You know, you can bait out their Masquerena or whatever they end on. And like I said, we play tons of going second cards, so I'll talk about the rest of them now, kind of the board break cards. So we played Duster, and we played 2 Lightning Storm. So Duster's just sick. We pretty much have to play it because there's a lot of Eldritch in the format right now, and main decking the Duster is really good against Eldritch. And there's also some other stun decks, like the Invoke Dogmatica Shadal deck is a deck that exists out there, and people are setting droplets and people are setting imperms in this meta, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, so being able to just Duster whenever and not have to worry about controlling cards is also nice, which is why we don't just run 3 Lightning Storm, even though Lightning Storm is a little bit more versatile. And then I guess I'll talk about the double Lightning Storm. This card's really good. We just want to have 3 basically Dusters in our deck for Eldritch. If we'd run 3 Duster, I'm pretty sure we would just run 3 Duster. Most of the time, we are Lightning Storming for the Duster effect. Like 80% of the time, we're Dustering or Lightning Storming for the Duster effect. So, and then, you know, the added versatility of being able to blow up their monsters if they're light on back row is also kind of nice. But we run this card so that we don't lose to Eldritch. Same thing with this card. so we don't lose to Eldritch. And then the final card, so we've gone through all 47 of the other cards. Forbidden Droplet, this is the most important, the absolute, linchpin of the deck. You need this card going second. All the other cards, except for the zoos, are pretty much substitutable. Like, you can play different hand traps to suit your taste, but you must play Forbidden Droplet. You absolutely must play Forbidden Droplet. So if you guys don't know what Forbidden Droplet says, basically the card is completely bonkers. Just like a board break card that can't be responded to. You can send cards from your hand or your field to the graveyard, and then so you send those cards, and then the text of the card says basically whatever type you send, monster, spell, or trap. So if you say you send an imperm and a pot of desires, your opponent can't activate spells or traps in response to this card. Or you send a gamma seal from your hand and a bunny blast. Your opponent can't activate monster effects in response to this card. So targeting the untargetable stuff, or not the untargetable stuff. It also doesn't target. So that's the other beautiful thing. I said target, but basically you just select. And then choose. You don't even target. You just choose them. So any card that cards that can't be targeted, they're still going to be affected by this. And then basically what we're doing is we're having their attack. So that is kind of nice. Sometimes that effect does come up where you're using Forbidden Droplets in the damage step to basically get like a battle trick and kill the monster that you normally wouldn't be able to kill, or maybe make your monster survive in a funny way. But obviously the main reason we run this card is because the cards that we have, their effects are also negated, which is really, 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 really awesome. Like being able to break boards of crazy stuff like King of Calamities, Ultimateness. There's so much stuff right now in the game that says you just can't play. Win does. I mean, just the list goes on. The Bird Up deck is a prime example. Oh, I actually have formed a great hatred for the Bird Up deck over the past day or so. So hopefully I don't run into too many other Bird Up players. But this card's super good against them, being able to stop all their craziness. Anyway, this is the linchpin of the deck. You definitely need this card. This is if I said my first craft was going to be Max C when I first started playing this game, I mean Max C, Ash Blossom, Imperm are pretty good first crafts, but I would also say Droplet should be on that list. Just depending on what you're playing. If you really want to go first, if you're playing a deck like Eldritch, probably don't make Forbidden Droplets. I mean, I guess the same thing is true in Eldritch, you don't want to be playing Max C, or, not necessarily. Imperm's pretty good in Eldritch, though. I think if I made a new Eldritch deck, it would have triple Imperm in it. Just so you don't lose so hard going first. Or going second, sorry. The Eldritch deck always wins going first. Anyway, that's it for the main deck. Hope I kind of made everything make sense. I like talking about it in this order instead of just monster, spells, traps. Talking about it in the order of the Zoo engine, cards that make your deck go, and then we just talk about the hand traps and the going second cards. That's it. This is the only stuff that's in the deck. The hand traps kind of are going second cards, but there's some cards that are going second cards that are not hand traps. So that's why I kind of put that in that order. So first and foremost, we'll talk about the Zoodiac extra cards. So if you guys don't know what the Zoodiac extra cards say, basically, once per turn, you can special summon a Zoodiac. You can special summon them with just any Zoodiac that isn't them. So Hammer Kong, you can't summon on top of a Hammer Kong, so on and so on. So any normal summon, Zoo, any reborn XYZ Zoo, we can just stack another Zoo on top of it, basically for free. Which essentially is why this deck is so good, because we can just get more and more materials under our card for pretty much no cost. We just normal summon one card and we can make a 4-material Zeus, which is really, really, really good. If we had multiple Dryadens, we could be making 6-material Zeuses, but we only have one Dryden, so really, you're making a 4-material Zeus, and that's your max. But yeah, so that's all the Zoo cards have that same effect, that we can just special summon them once per turn this way. And then the other effect that they all share is that they gain the stats of all the Zoodiac monsters under them. So, if you make a Hammer Kong with the 1600 zero guy, he's going to be 1600 zero, and if you make him, and then if you attach another material through various means, he's going to gain those stats as well. So hope that kind of made that make somewhat sense of like how the Zoodiacs work. They're not that complicated, but they are a little bit weird. I will admit. All right, so now that I've gotten kind of the generic Zoodiac stuff out of the way, we'll talk about the zoos that this is the best zoo. This is pretty much what makes the deck go round. Zoodiac Trident. So this card essentially just says that during either player's turn, we can detach one material, target one face-up card on the field, destroy it. So oftentimes we're destroying stuff like Tenki just to detach a material. Maybe we need to reborn it. Or we're detaching a material targeting a Ram that maybe we special summon from the graveyard using a Chalk-and-Eye. That's another pretty sick thing to do. I'll explain what Chalk-and-Eye does, but basically Chalk-and-Eye. I guess Chalk-and-Eye will be next, but there's a lot of applications for Trident. So just know that you can pop your cards and their cards. So it's like a disrupt on their turn, and it can be a combo piece for your card. This card's awesome. Oh, and if you're gonna play this deck, like you're gonna play Zoo, I said that you didn't have to craft any other ultra rares besides the droplets. That's not true. You definitely need Zeus. You definitely need this card. You definitely need Utopic Future. The extra deck is pretty locked down, by the way. I will go ahead and say I've seen a lot of Zoo players, and I've seen a lot of Zoo decks out there. I've seen a lot of Zoo players. All the good Zoo players are running exactly this extra deck, so trust me here. I've got like 100 games of this Zoo deck. You need this ratio. You're gonna get punished a lot in anything else. Maybe there's some worlds where you can make Ask Another Earth Charmer fit into the extra deck, but I don't see the card that you would cut. Because the card you would cut would either be Chalk-and-Eye, and what Chalk-and-Eye does is basically, so generic Zoo effect, but we can detach one material, target one Zoo in our graveyard, special summon it, but its effects are negated. So we can special summon a Trident, and we can't make an Xyz with it this turn. And then its effects come back at the end of our turn. So both of those effects dissipate at the end of our turn. So we can resummon Zoodiac Trident, for example. And then, zero material Trident's pretty useless. It doesn't have any effects. We can't make an Xyz with it. What are we going to do with it? Boom, we're going to overlay Tiger Mortar on top of our Chalk-and-Eye, target one of our Zoo cards in the graveyard, attach it to our Trident, and then during the end phase, when we click that end phase button, we'll get our Trident effect back. So that's pretty sick. That's kind of like the standard Zoo thing you do, because obviously we only have one Trident, so we can't just make it from our extra deck. So when we make a Zoo Xyz, we pretty much are gonna make, because our Trident's probably gonna be in the graveyard. If it's not, we can overlay the Chalk-and-Eye on top of the Trident, attaching the Trident, targeting another Zoo. So we need a Zoo in the graveyard, obviously, to do this. But typically we'll have one if we have a Trident on the board for a turn. We're gonna detach a material, pop a card, and then we can overlay onto. I guess I'll talk about these after, but don't worry about these guys' effects too much. We just sometimes we're overlaying them on top for extra material in our cards. But their effects themselves are not that relevant. Borbo's got a good effect. Hammer Kong does not. But all Chalk-and-Eye, all you need to know about Chalk-and-Eye is that it's obviously vital for your combo, which is why we run 3. And the same thing with Tiger Mortar. Tiger Mortar is also vital for your combo. And then Tiger Mortar, I think I already said the effects, but basically you just attach a material, and then you can attach a material from the graveyard to a Zoo. So attaching another material to Trident so that we have a pop on our opponent's turn is really, really strong. Okay. Hammer Kong, literally just a Zoo that we have in our deck so that we can put more materials under cards for either Zeus or for Tridents, but this card is just, it's buns, it's not good. During the end phase, we have to detach a material, and all it does is protect our other Zeus from being targeted by card effects, and we don't care. We don't care if they get targeted by card effects. And then we have Zoodiac Borbo. So Borbo actually has the super vital effect. They're one of the reasons we actually play this deck, that it can attack directly when it has material. So Actually, it doesn't even need material. This card can just always attack directly, period. Yeah, which means that even if they have a big attack position monster, we can just attack their life points directly for 0, even in the worst case scenario. And we can, in that case, make this card, Zeus. If you guys don't know what Zeus says, basically we can just XYZ this card on top of any other XYZ card, as long as an XYZ monster has battled this turn, which is super, super, super awesome. This card's effect is that when you, or during either player's turn, so it's like a quick effect. It's not once per turn. It's not once per chain. So don't worry about that. You can detach 2 material from this card. Send all other cards on the field to the graveyard. So I think I might have mentioned in a couple of my videos trying to resummon Bunny Blast and triggering them off Zeus. So Zeus doesn't even trigger cards that are destroyed because it doesn't destroy. It sends them to the graveyard. So if you're losing to Chaos Max and like Silver guys, you can make this and never lose to Chaos Max again because this card sends and it doesn't even destroy. So all your cute cards that can't be destroyed by card effects, meet AA Zeus, who just does not care about destroying. He just sends. So this card's like the whole reason we pretty much are able to play Zoodiac still. So there's been tons and tons of hits to this deck, but Zeus is really, really something else. And the power level of Zeus as well as Dryden is really high. So Dryden is like a worse Zeus, but Dryden doesn't like nuke your whole board as well. And Dryden obviously is a Zoo card, so we can keep our Zeus stuff going. Zeus should really be used as more of a finisher. And then another card that we kind of have as a finisher card, Drill Driver, basically just special summon this card on top of any XYZ, and it's just a 25 beater that pierces, so yeah, we got this card. Don't really care too much about this card. F-Zero. F-Zero's super good. This is just a package I've never used F-Zero in this game. I really wish that I could because I like this actual card, but F-Zero is just like a stepping stone for Draco Future. So Draco Future just says that we can special summon it on top of F-Zero for free. But F-Zero, to make F-Zero, just needs 2 XYZ monsters with the same rank that are not number monsters. So there must be some sort of weird number thing I don't really know about that would just make this card broken if that didn't have that restriction on it. But essentially, when we have 2 Zoos on our board, maybe they're both zeros, or we can make this card on turn 1 by doing a little combo, just a little 2-card combo with Thoroughblade and Ram. But essentially, this card just says can't be destroyed by battle or card effect, so that's super helpful a lot of the time. Against things like Lightning Blast, Lightning Storm, Lightning Blast. I said things like Raigeki, random Raigeki. You can't attack over it. It's nice for all those various reasons. You can't Eldritch over it, whatnot. And then the effect is basically we can attach an XYZ material to negate a monster effect. And if that monster is on the field, we gain control of that monster. So hey, it's pretty good. It's not the greatest turn 1 threat, but it's definitely a force to be reckoned with. And I'll just quickly go through that little 2-card Ram Thoroughblade combo that I mentioned before. So you just normal summon Thoroughblade, discard Ram. You overlay into Trident. No, sorry. You normal summon Thoroughblade, discard Ram, overlay into Chakanine. You detach the Thoroughblade to resummon the Ram from the graveyard. You overlay the Trident on top of the Chakanine. You use the Trident effect to pop the Ram that you just resummoned. The Ram's effect will proc in the graveyard, resummoning the Chakanine. And then this is kind of something you want to do this. You want to, at that point, then overlay a Hammer Kong on top of your Trident. And then at that point, you can overlay them both onto F-Zero. So the materials underneath the XYZ monsters you use for F-Zero will fall off, which is good. You want your Trident in the graveyard so that you can resummon it next turn, because we're hoping you have another Zoo in your hand so you can kind of keep everything going. And then at that point, you have the Hammer Kong, at that point, you've already overlaid the 2 cards that I had mentioned. Oh, no, sorry. You proc the Bunny Blast, resummoning, not the Chakanine, because the Chakanine's on the board, but it's probably the Thoroughblade, and then you overlay the Tiger Mortar or the Borbo on top of the Thoroughblade. And essentially, this just gets you 2 rank 4 Xyz for F0, make F0, make Future Dragon, and boom, hopefully your hand traps and whatnot will be enough. This is a going second deck, so we just want to have one kind of going first play. F0 is also good if you can kind of blow them out and then make it on your second turn. You know, if they just can't play, if they just have 1 or 2 cards, it's super good for those situations as well. So anyway, that's the whole deck. This new season has been a lot more competitive. I've seen a lot more Virtual World, a lot more Drytron, and just a lot more good players on the ladder. So I've really had to tune my deck more towards the meta than I had before. It was just kind of more generically good before, I would say, against a wider field, which is what I was kind of dealing with in the the twilight hours of this season. But in this new season, I would say pretty much every player that's platinum is pretty good. There's no bad players in platinum right now. At the end of the last season, I think a lot of players were able to reach platinum and maybe even high up on the ladder. But platinum right now is quite competitive. Because, I mean, essentially you have to think what kind of psychopaths are grinding so many hours that they can already be platinum in the new season. This is the 3rd day of it, so looking at one of them. And I even have grinded more than most because I grinded all the way up to platinum 4, and then I demoted all the way down to gold 2, just in a complete rage fit, not even playing this deck, just playing something else, which is, trying to learn a deck on the ladder is like trying to learn a character in a ranked game and another kind of video game. So definitely not something I would recommend. Play with your friends, see how this deck works before you take it to the ladder. The deck I'm playing is a lot more complex than this one. The Zoodiac is pretty straightforward. You're just really trying to outgrind your opponent and hope that enough hand traps make it so they can't play the game. Anyway, I hope that was a sufficient explanation. If you guys have ever left a comment on my video before, you know that I'm always responding to people, always trying to, just see what people think. If whatever your opinion is, I want to talk to you about it. I want to kind of see if I can't convince you that I'm right. Maybe you can convince me you're right. I know that there was some. I've definitely talked to just about everyone in my comments. If you've left a comment on my video, I would say you've probably got a response from me. So, if you have questions about the deck, if you guys want to see more and more replays, hit me up. There is also obviously going to be replays on the channel for this deck. But this has been Going Second Zoo Platinum Season 2 Day 2 deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is like the best. This is like the deck that I'm playing right now. There'll probably be more iterations, and I'll probably make another profile whenever I reach the max rank, but hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, leave a like. I appreciate all the love and support I've gotten so far. I know it hasn't been so super whole lot, but I really do like the little community. I hope I'm able to start building up here, and yeah, some of y'all I've enjoyed responding to like 50 of your comments. So if you're feeling shy, don't leave a comment. I'll respond. I'm literally not gonna be mean to you, even if you could say the dumbest thing in the world, and I promise I'm gonna be your friend, because my goal is not to like be an elitist Yu-Gi-Oh player. I just want to be somebody who can help players either that want to get better themselves or just kind of, I just want the whole skill level of the game to improve. So if you feel like you're asking a stupid question, or you don't know what something means, or I say some sort of technical jargon that doesn't make sense to you, call me out on it. I want to explain it to you. I don't want to leave anybody out. I just want to make everybody better. So yeah, hopefully I can see more Zoodiac on the ladder and less Drytron and less less Virtual World. Virtual World is my least favorite thing to play against, because they just make the king of calamities, and you either have droplets or you don't have droplets. So it's just one of those things. So now we play Kaijus too, because we hate that card so much. So hope you guys enjoyed. It's been your boy Neosynthesis. Peace.